allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If you could all either turn your phones to silent or turn them off, please. We have the sheet in here if you guys want to come in. Can you just come sign this for me really quick, please? I know, in front of everybody, I'm sorry. Blame your mom. So you live here and I assume you don't want to talk? Okay, all right. Thank you. Just want to make sure you get credit. Okay, seeing that we don't have anyone for public forum, Mr. Norman, did you want to?
Great, I'd like to welcome up Miss Ventura, who will be here to give us a presentation on our special education department, updates from the special education department. So turn it over to Miss Ventura.
Okay, we're gonna skip the really exciting repeat MVPs for a second. I promise we'll come back to it. So last year when I was up here, we talked a lot about classification, where our students were at, like writing a lot of the wrongs that were in our IEPs, compliance, all those sorts of things. This year I thought it would be great to talk about our current continuum. It has expanded a little bit. So we still have consultant teacher in kindergarten through 12th grade. Some of you might be saying, well, what do you mean we have a UPK program as well? It's technically a self-contained setting, but it's self-contained in an integrated setting. So that should be up here. That's one of the things that I missed, I'm sorry. But we do have self-contained in pre-K. We have consultant teacher in kindergarten through 12th grade. Our newest addition is our 12-1-3-1 classroom in grades K through 2, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. We still have our 12-1-3-1 classroom in grades 3 through 5. We do have 15-1 classrooms in 10th and 11th grade. That we've kind of minimized a little bit because it was grades 9 through 12 last year, but we've really kind of focused in to make sure that the classes being offered in the self-contained setting are for the students that truly need it the most, because we really want to keep kids in the gen ed setting as much as possible in the least restrictive environment. And then of course we have our out-of-district settings that are available for UPK to 12, and those are not in the general ed setting. So currently our out-of-district placements, we have kids going to several Wayne Finger Lakes BOCES placements. So that's Red Jacket, Mid Lakes, Newark Education Center, and Wayne Education Center. We also have kids going, one student going to Williamson, a couple of students going to the Hillside High School program, Norman Howard, Hannibal, and North Rose. It looks like a lot, but it's actually a reduction since last year. We're going to 3 less placements than we were last year, simply through graduation or bringing kids back. So that's a win on our part. Our new self-contained class, one of my favorite classes to go to. This is the breakdown of what our class looks like. So we have one classroom teacher. We're in the process of hiring a classroom TA for that setting, and we have 2 classroom aides in there. We have 2 students that are in kindergarten, 2 students that are in 1st grade, and 1 student that is in 2nd grade in that class. So as you can see, dressing up for Halloween, making applesauce, doing all of the fun things, going to library. It's been a really exciting year for them so far. So far we've done a lot. It's only November, and I cannot believe how much we've done this year. We have held a variety of professional developments for our staff to help continue to build their capacity in working with students with disabilities. So we've offered fetal alcohol syndrome training, a training on working with students with autism, a training on signs of dysregulation in students and co-regulation, and specifically dysregulation and co-regulation in nonverbal students. Using the unique curriculum for alternately assessed students in our self-contained settings, function-based thinking, and navigating student behaviors. We also have some new class offerings this year, so we have Red Creek Catering. This is awesome because it can be used as either a math or a science credit for our high school students. They get to go hang out at the Opera House Cafe every now and again. They've gone on a lot of different field trips. They've gone to Scranton, they've gone to Natalie's, and those kids are doing a lot of really awesome things. And then we also have our district-wide autism consultant. So he is here twice a month. He is here for any student with autism that we may need more support on. So it's not just one student twice a month, it's any student that needs support, he can come in, he can do consultant hours. He's provided feedback for several of our teachers, met with teams. It's been a really great service to have for our kiddos. Some goals for the future. we're looking for additional opportunities for students, so continuing to explore different pathways for graduation. So especially with like the new portrait of a graduate and what it means to get to graduation, we're really looking towards how can we get our students with disabilities to walk on time and with a high school diploma. We've been partnering with Steady Work more to help students achieve gainful employment. So Steady Work works with students to not only get them a paycheck now while they're in school, but it also kind of provides an incentive to come to school more often, get your grades up, like do all those things, and it's another adult having eyes on our students. And then this year I've been working more closely with agencies such as Access VR and OPWDD for students to receive the needed services that they need to help get them through that transition period once they enter post-high school life. Some future considerations that we are looking at, don't necessarily know how we're going to navigate those yet, are reviewing our middle school continuum and programming available to students to see if we need to expand that continuum as well. And then increasing opportunities for students with disabilities to have access to higher level courses. So some of our students we know are very capable of doing like some of those AP or college level classes. How do we get them the needed support so that they can do that? Because just because they have an IEP or a disability does not mean that they shouldn't be appropriately placed within those classrooms. Social emotional support staff is always something that I like to touch on with you guys. We have a very lengthy list of social emotional support staff across our district. So we have counselors at every level. We have our district-wide social worker. We in behavioral health, we do have a new counselor this year, and we have a new Delphi Rise counselor this year. We have 3 community schools coordinators. We have a social emotional learning interventionist, and we have our school psychologists, and we're fortunate enough to have 2 psych interns this year, which has been phenomenal because they've been working closely with our building level teams to provide even more support to our students. The school counseling plan is something that you guys were given today. It's been reviewed and updated based on district needs, and our advisory council has been developed and formed. I'm really excited to say that I will kind of be like the chairperson for our advisory council for the district, and our first meeting is actually in December. So we're looking forward to that and kind of figuring out what that looks like for our district. The MTSS teams are up and running. They're, meeting regularly on students, and they have begun to review student data to make sure the students are getting the interventions that they need. And lastly, I host mental health team meetings once a month. So that is with our counselors, our social worker, our Wayne behavioral health counselor, and our Delphi Rise counselor to make sure that students are getting the best fit, so we don't have a student seeing a building level counselor, but then seeing the social worker, but then seeing the Wayne behavioral counselor on top of it. We want to make sure that we're really appropriately meeting their needs. And that's all I've got. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Of course, our MVPs, there's our two-sided list for this month, right? So that the quantity continues to kind of stay high. I like, as I do most months, I try to highlight a handful that I thought really kind of strike a chord. So I'd like to read one on Steve Bacchus, who's our transportation director. Steve is always willing to go above and beyond to support our students and families, whether it's providing transportation to students outside their regular bus runs or assisting with food pickups for families in need. Steve is always ready to help. It's wonderful knowing that our district and community can count on Steve. And a second one of our high school math teachers, Bridget Johnson. Mrs. Johnson was my daughter's math teacher last year and left a positive impression on her. As we were touring colleges and having conversations with college coaches, the question came up time and again, what classes do you like in high school? My daughter shared with the coaches that for her it's not about the class or the subject area, it's about the teacher. Prior years she loved science and social studies, but last year her favorite class was math. She told them that although the class itself was challenging, the teacher, Mrs. Johnson, made it fun and went above and beyond to help her students. So just kind of a testament and a shout out to 2 different areas of folks that just kind of continue to rise up and do the things, you know, that the reason we have this program is to recognize the folks that are doing those kind of things. So, 2 good examples this month.
Great, thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on to see the minutes from the regular meeting for October 15th. Could I have a motion, please? Mrs. Kaiser, in a second. Mrs. Decker? Any corrections, questions? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, moving on. Please, as the board, would someone possibly give me a motion for all of the financial reports? Mrs. Allen?
D1 through 5.
Thank you. And a second by Mrs. Kaiser. Questions? Okay, when you're ready.
Mrs. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mrs. Foltz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dingman?
Yes.
Mrs. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
And Mrs. Madigan?
Yes. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Could I have a motion? Mrs. Kaiser?
E 1 through 5 and 7.
Okay, could I have a second for that, please? Mrs. Allen? Questions about E 1 through 5 and 7?
Donna Brooks, E3.
Figured you would just,
Okay, no, yeah.
John, did you change that?
yep, please.
Okay.
don't have to.
One, you don't have to. I said 1 through 5 and 7. You want 1 through 7?
2 and 3.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
You misspoke.
Change. Okay. 1 through 2 and 4 through 7.
Wait, what?
1, 2.
Okay,
Everything in E except for 3.
there's nothing in between 1 and 2, so it can be 1 through 2. Okay,
It's not just me today.
1, 2,
It's not-
4, 5, 6, 7.
are all the seniors writing this down? This is what a board meeting is like, in case you're wondering. Mrs. Allen, can
Not
you change
all of
your
them.
second? Yeah, not all of them.
2,
Yes, I will do that.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop raising my hand.
Questions?
was there a second to that?
Mrs. Allen,
Oh, sorry.
she was willing to do 1 through 2.
Was there a third?
Okay, when you're ready, please.
Mrs. Decker? Mr. Joyce?
Yes.
Mrs. Dingman?
Yes.
Mrs. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mrs. Foltz?
Yes.
And Mrs. Madigan?
Yes, thank you. Could I have a motion, please, for E3,
Not
not
by
you?
me.
Mrs. Allen, can I have a second, please? Mrs. Decker? Okay. Mr. Van Orman?
Yes, unfortunately, we're getting to the start of the time during the school year where we start to receive resignation letters from folks as they start to contemplate, look towards the end of the year. So in front of you, you have a resignation for the purposes of retirement for Mrs. Donna Brooks, high school English teacher for us. We had the fortune of hiring Donna back in '21. So she has worked for us for the better part of 4 years, but of course, anybody that knows Donna knows that she has spent a lifetime in education. It's just the last 4 years have really been here, and you know, she started back in North Rose Wolcott, neighboring to us, back in the early 90s, and has really remained pretty close to this region, both at North Rose, Wayne Finger Lakes BOCES, now at Red Creek, in a number of different capacities for the last 30 years. So in my conversations with Donna recently, she has kind of disclosed how fortunate she feels to be able to end her professional career here at Red Creek, in a place that really has meant so much to her. So I'm glad for her. And for our students that have had the fortune and benefit to learn under her leadership and guidance. And I through some conversations with Donna, I know that the board, we had received a small amendment to her resignation, which will bring her through the end, as opposed to middle of the school year, which for sustainability and consistency purposes will be great for our kids. So, thank you to Donna for her work with our students, and good luck in retirement years for herself.
Thank you. Any comments? Please wish our best, and I mean, just explain to her that most people don't really retire the first time around anyway, so. See her back
Perfect.
when you're ready.
Mrs. Foltz?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mrs. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mrs. Stegman?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce?
Yes.
Mrs. Decker?
Yes.
And Mrs. Madigan?
Yes, thank you. Okay, moving on to F, new business. I have a motion, please.
Oh, let me. 1 through 6?
Thank you. Can I have a second? Thank you, Mrs. Foltz. Sorry. Any questions? Sounded like a question. When you're ready.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mrs. Stegman?
Yes.
Mrs. Decker?
Yes.
Mrs. Foltz?
Yes.
Mrs. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce?
Yes.
And Mrs. Madigan?
Yes, thank you. Any questions on the administrative reports?
This month I made sure to kind of separate the administrative reports from Board Member Nash's report, just so that it didn't get blended in there, so hopefully that was helpful.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Van Orman?
Yes, as I had alluded in my transmittal to the board, seeing where we are with some trend data regarding student enrollment, I've elicited the help of some of our data specialists to kind of audit where these students are coming in, like what grades are they coming into, but really more importantly, when students leave, where are they going? So are students going to homeschool? Are students going to another school? And then when we dive deeper into if they're going to another school, how long have they been in Red Creek? Did they come to Red Creek for 6 months from North Rose-Wolcott and now are going back to North Rose-Wolcott? Like, was it just kind of a placeholder quick? So just, not that it'll solve the problem, but I think it'll help us to better understand internally where some of those pieces are going. Independently from that, I have asked our regional superintendents for some feedback around homeschool numbers, just to kind of see maybe where we stand in respect to the amount of homeschool students that we have, and if they are seeing some trends locally in their schools as well. I've gotten a little bit of feedback on that, and in the feedback that I've gotten, we have about 70 homeschool students right now, up from 65 at this point last year, so we're up a tick. But we're in the bottom half of the responses in terms of overall homeschooled student populations within other districts, from the feedback that I've gotten currently.
Is that number or percentage?
Number.
Okay.
Sorry, did you say we're within what? Say, repeat that again, I'm sorry.
We're in the lower half
Okay.
of numbers. I haven't dove into the percentages. So some schools are above 100, those kind of things. But to Ms. Madigan's point, if the school is twice our size and has 100 kids, the percent would be greater for us, obviously. So that's early on in our numbers, but just trying to track where those students go. And, if they, Mr. Gaffney and Ms. Blasco, our high school counselor, if some of them as a cohort have dropped over the course of time, is it appropriate for us to try to get them back? Instead of a dropout, can we do something to get them to come back into our programs, those kind of things. So I guess more to come on that, just to try to dive in a little bit around the numbers and what we're looking at there. Questions on that? Wonderful. Next up was the budget development calendar draft. This time last year, brought you folks a draft with some of the important dates. We always like to bring this forward to you as a draft in case there are some conflicts or folks might not be able to make some of the different things, or if there are questions around it. Some of these dates are hard and fast dates by the state in terms of where we go, but we are already on our end beginning our budgeting process. Typically the governor won't really come out until January with her numbers. So at this point, it's just kind of getting an understanding from our side where we are and what things are looking like. I know we say it every year, right? It's kind of an uncertain time with budgeting, of course. With the shutdown stuff at the federal level, the impact possibly on some grants going forward in the future. Have we positioned ourselves to be able to sustain some of the work that's associated with those grants, and the value of that work, or do we have to make some difficult decisions on those things? So I think you kind of see if you get a chance to dive into these dates and you have questions or concerns, we will be bringing this back for an action item at the December board meeting. Typically our board adopts this as an action item in December, so any feedback between now and then would be welcome. So.
Thank you.
The third thing that I'd asked to throw on here was a discussion or maybe approval from the board to move forward with some discussion or some work internally on our end at the high school level around what our practices and protocols are associated with graduation. In my conversations with other schools, they have policy around graduation. We do not have a policy on graduation. We have longstanding traditions and histories on how we have done graduation, but there's nothing memorialized in policy to set that out. Many other schools have been moving towards putting some things in there. Other districts recognize students at graduation in other ways. They use the Latin system. They do top 10% versus 5. There's a number of different things, and I was really just trying to get some flavor from the Board of Education on, in my head, working with Mr. Gaffney and his leadership team to really begin to dive into, are we recognizing the students in a meaningful way? Are we missing the boat on other ways to recognize students? But also celebrating things that we do recognize them for that maybe other schools don't, and really kind of trying to promote some of those things. In the last couple of years, seal of biliteracy, seal of civic readiness, those are the kind of things that have jumped up on our end. And I think one of the longstanding tenets for us, because of our size and how personable we really try to relate to our school parents, students, and community, we really make our graduation ceremony meaningful and trying to recognize students. So looking for maybe some thoughts or feedback or information on, like, does that seem like something the board would be interested in us internally kind of bringing something back to the board? I don't even know what the timeline for something like this would be. I think oftentimes if you're looking at I don't even know if we're making changes to something, right? But you kind of phase that stuff in over time. You can't really mess with graduation so abruptly. But
Mess with, that was a good term, good phrase.
yeah.
Keep that in mind.
So just thoughts or opinions maybe from the board on, is there a temperature check around, would it be helpful to have some language down? Not helpful?
What do we think?
I think it would be helpful. I think about those students that maybe don't take the traditional path, that, are OCs, finding ways to make sure that they're recognized,
in a special way. I know we do a little bit of that, but overall, I do think it's worth a conversation and to get things down in sort of a policy, so it's clear.
I would agree.
Okay.
I think,
All,
oh, I'm sorry.
all students, like all seniors, whether they're international students, Red Creek based students, whatever, I think there needs to be something put into place so nobody's scrambling a week before graduation or the day before. There needs to be something to meaningfully recognize everyone.
So are you referring just to that process or the graduation ceremony?
I think my conversation would start kind of around our graduation protocols and then our ceremony protocols, right? Like,
Okay, so we're dealing with two different things.
Is there a typical policy for each, I guess, like,
Yes.
I'd have to dive into exactly. I haven't spent a lot of time because I really wanted to start at this level with that conversation around what those policies contain. These would not be a required policy from Erie One or from a legal standpoint, so we have a lot of local control over what can or can't be in a policy like that.
Just from what you're describing though, it sounds like a lot of what you're looking at would be more procedures than
It might.
policies.
That's
So is it
actually-
something that's really a board level, like, I don't mind looking at it if, as a board, if you want feedback on things, but it sounds like you're talking more about procedures at the administrative level than policies at the board.
And it could be, right, but I also think if there's some feedback to increase something or to make a change, I would want that conversation, even though it's a procedure, not a policy, to be communicated in a public sense before we would do anything. So maybe it doesn't end with a policy, right, but just to kind of study it and to examine it and take a look at what we do and how we recognize. Are we getting the right opportunities for our kids across the stage? Now's a good time with New York Inspires and the Blue Ribbon Commission as they're moving away from advanced regents with designation to one diploma. And some of these different seals and recognitions, different cords, those kind of things, you know. As Mrs. Kaiser alluded to, we have international students. Where do they play into our graduation ceremonies? Those kind of things, right? Like, it's really broad right now in my mind.
So I mean, it certainly, and I agree, I don't think it needs to be a policy, but, you know, we've attended graduation, all of us on the board. And in my opinion, we don't focus on the whole child. We already have award ceremonies for the folks getting awards, but then we still recognize the same group of students during the ceremony that's already outlined in the program of why are they, what chords are they, why are they having them? But I would think focusing on the whole child instead of individual. But I don't feel it has to be a board policy.
Yeah, so my thought was to work with Mr. Gaffney and his leadership team around gathering some input. And I think it's another potential opportunity to involve our student board member, right? Aiden happens to be a senior. What's important to seniors? What do they talk about? Does he talk to other schools' students? You know, and how do they manage their ceremonies? You know, I think it's a worthwhile conversation from my perspective. I don't know what the outcome is, and I think that's okay at this point, not to have a predetermined outcome, but really to dive into what opportunities are out there and are we doing, representing the best for our kids during our ceremonies.
It's a student graduation, so the question is, what do they want? Do they want to have, instead of your veil and sail, do they want to have, or, you know, to make a speech? Maybe they also want to have a class president have a speech, or changing up. Do you really? I know it's been a long-standing tradition to have a graduate from 30 years prior, but this is the time for the students to say, "Hey, let's change this up. What could it look like?" what do others do?
Maybe have you had any conversation like this? Like,
He's just gonna be happy to do it.
talk about this?
Not really about graduation, but to Miss Dingman's point, why would, I don't know if we wanna change it every year, cause then everybody, it's like, you have a different plan every year, so. I know it benefits the students to get what they want, but I would wanna try to stay more in tradition of like, what has been done in the past.
Gotcha.
But
This
that's-
is your
that's just-
opportunity though to work with it, to change the future for all.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think maybe if you have the opportunity, you could incorporate more, no offense, Mr. Nash, more of the entire senior student body of just feedback in general, to see what kind of direction, and maybe it doesn't get changed every year, but maybe with some feedback that, maybe no one listens to the speaker who's graduated 30 years ago, and they would prefer to play music for 10 minutes, I don't know, but.
Or maybe you think about, like Mrs. Damon said, does the valedictorian not want to make a speech? So maybe the valedictorian has the decision choice of, I don't want to, so then it would go to the class president or
somebody that wants to.
else designated.
Yeah. And that would certainly be protocol based, right? Like those things would certainly, you know,
Might give the class a little bit more opportunity to be involved and potentially make a difference moving forward. But I think overall, I think you have the go-ahead from us if you know, support from us if you wanna move forward
okay.
with that. Any other questions before we move on?
Thank you.
Okay, that would be good feedback because we might have a foreign exchange student in the winter, so who would be a senior, so we'll see.
There we go.
So work quickly, just kidding. Okay, next on the agenda, the I-1 and I-2 are, just gonna be on there every single meeting. Mrs. Folds and I have been, graciously working with Amanda, who's been helping us make updates and changes as people have been putting them in, so like we had talked about before, any questions or comments, shoot us a message, make a note in there, and we'll try to keep making those updates as we go, to keep that, to keep everybody's thoughts heard, but it'll continue to appear on the agenda until we complete it. Number 3, I think my impression, Mr. Van Orman, please correct me if I'm wrong, was getting the link for the online version would not be quite as difficult as it ended up being. Which
Maybe.
I think we got today,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, I shared it with you today.
Yeah,
That's
so, so last we had spoke about this, we were gonna get the link for the online version of the conference, I don't know, a month ago. That didn't seem to work out, so I just need some feedback on kind of how we wanted to handle that. There were a couple of options out there that the link would go out, you could, kind of view what you wanted to on your own time, and we could come back and discuss that, or, we had talked about watching a session as a team together, maybe right before a meeting or something like that, so what would you guys like to do?
Watch it on our own. We all have different schedules.
I think it would be kind of helpful if we picked a few that we feel could be beneficial to the board and all watch them and discuss at some point, but
Watch them on your own though?
yeah.
I would agree that if we're all watching the same one or 2 or 3 or whatever, that would make more sense than all of us just picking whatever we want. Just because then we would have something to discuss rather than just, I noticed this, I saw this, I watched this.
But on your own?
Yeah.
That is great, okay.
Do we have to pay for additional links though?
No, we just pay for it once.
So maybe if we send out the link in the topic choices, we could just get back to.
Yeah, you could just take a look at it,
And
yeah.
say like.
It looks
my
like a
topic
main
choices or-
menu kind of a page that has like a listing, and then you would click on each one of those, you know. Here's the listing of all the recorded sessions with the title.
So, why don't we'll send that out. Why don't you send me, your top 3 by next Wednesday? If there's some consensus, maybe we could just pick a couple, you can watch as many as you want, obviously. But, then we could make sure that at least all of us had watched those top two. If we wanted to take a few minutes, if there was discussion, if everybody watching is like, there wasn't really enough to it. Otherwise, we can maybe talk about that. That sound all right? Okay,
Great.
thank you. Okay. All right. I will take a motion to move into executive for a litigation matter, please.
I'll make that motion.
Mrs. Digman, and can I have a second, please?
And but before we go, I'd like to take this opportunity, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, to express my gratitude to everyone in the district, from our administrators, to our teachers, to the support staff, the bus drivers, the O&M, the aides, the assistants, the food service workers, to the families, students. You give so much of yourself every day. Thank you for your hard work, your heart, and the dedication you bring to our school. And I'll say, we see it, we appreciate it, and are truly grateful for all of you.
Thank you, Nancy. That
Welcome.
was very nice.
I tried.
Who was the second? Thank you.
Again, seniors, when you write this down, you're gonna wanna write that that came from the entire board, even though Nancy's the one that wrote it very nicely. Okay, thank you very much. If you did not sign the sign-in sheet, you should come sign that really quick, please.
That